Have you ever been told your kidney numbers are just slightly elevated and then sent home with no real explanation? Have you ever stared at a lab report showing rising creatinine, borderline blood pressure, or creeping blood sugar and wondered quietly, is this the beginning of something serious? Because here's the truth most people in America don't hear soon enough. Kidney damage doesn't start with pain, it starts with silence, and by the time symptoms show up, nearly 90% of kidney function can already be gone. I'm Dr. Mark Ellis, and after years of working with patients who never thought they were that sick, I can tell you this with absolute certainty: what you eat every single day either protects your kidneys or slowly wears them down. And one of the most misunderstood foods in the American kitchen, sitting quietly in your pantry right now, has the power to do either depending entirely on how you prepare it. We've been taught to fear potatoes. We associate them with fries, chips, heavy salt, and fast food. But what if I told you that certain types of potatoes cooked the right way in the right portions can actually support blood pressure, balance, stabilize blood sugar, reduce oxidative stress, and help lower the long-term burden on your kidneys? What if the very food many people blame is actually part of the solution? Today, I'm going to walk you through 4 specific types of potatoes and root vegetables that may help support your kidneys instead of harming them. And more importantly, I'm going to show you exactly how to prepare them so you don't accidentally cancel out their benefits. Because kidney health isn't about extreme diets or miracle supplements. It's about understanding small daily decisions before they become irreversible consequences. And what you're about to learn could completely change the way you look at one of the most common foods in your home. White potatoes are not the villain most people think they are. In fact, when prepared correctly, they can become one of the most strategic foods for protecting your kidneys. The real issue was never the potato itself. It was what we turned it into: deep-fried, overloaded with sodium, stripped of balance. In its natural form, a medium white potato delivers a meaningful dose of potassium, and according to data from the U.S. Department of Agriculture, potassium plays a critical role in balancing sodium and maintaining healthy blood pressure. And blood pressure is one of the single biggest drivers of kidney damage in America today. The National Kidney Foundation has consistently emphasized that uncontrolled hypertension silently scars the tiny filtering units in the kidneys, the glomeruli, long before symptoms appear. When blood pressure stays elevated for years, those filters weaken like overworked strainers under constant force. I once had a 59-year-old patient, David, who believed he had to eliminate potatoes completely after seeing his creatinine creep upward. He replaced them with ultra-processed, low-carb snacks that were lower in potassium but higher in sodium and additives. 6 months later, his blood pressure was worse, not better. When we reviewed his diet, we didn't reintroduce fries. We reintroduced properly prepared, portion-controlled white potatoes, double-boiled to reduce potassium load, paired with olive oil and herbs instead of salt. Within months, his blood pressure stabilized and his metabolic markers improved. The lesson wasn't that potatoes are magic. It was that context matters. White potatoes also contain vitamin C and natural antioxidants that help reduce oxidative stress, the internal cellular damage that gradually injures blood vessels, including those inside the kidneys. Research from institutions like the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health has repeatedly linked antioxidant-rich diets to improve vascular health. And here's something most people overlook: when you cook a potato and let it cool, part of its starch converts into resistant starch. Resistant starch behaves more like fiber-feeding beneficial gut bacteria and improving insulin sensitivity. And since diabetes remains the #1 cause of chronic kidney disease in the United States, stabilizing blood sugar is not optional, it's protective. Now let's be responsible here. For individuals with advanced chronic kidney disease or consistently high potassium levels, portion control is critical. That's where preparation becomes strategic. Peeling, soaking, and double boiling potatoes can significantly reduce potassium content. The problem isn't the potato, it's ignoring the science behind how to prepare it. And if you've ever avoided a food out of fear rather than understanding, ask yourself how many other healthy swaps might actually be stressing your kidneys without you realizing it. Because white potatoes are only the beginning. But knowing this alone isn't enough. There's another factor hiding in plain sight that may be even more powerful when it comes to protecting your kidneys, and most people completely overlook it. If white potatoes were misunderstood, red potatoes are underestimated. That deep red skin isn't just color, it's chemistry. Red potatoes contain anthocyanins, the same class of powerful antioxidants found in blueberries and red grapes, and these compounds have been studied for their ability to protect blood vessels from oxidative damage. And remember, your kidneys are essentially a network of microscopic blood vessels. When those vessels stiffen or inflame, filtration declines long before you ever feel pain. A 62-year-old patient of mine, Maria, came in convinced that all starchy foods were sabotaging her kidneys. Her fasting glucose was borderline, her blood pressure unpredictable. She had eliminated potatoes entirely, but was still struggling. When we reviewed her meals, the issue wasn't carbohydrates, it was refined carbohydrates. We replaced white bread and processed snacks with small portions of boiled red potatoes, skin removed when necessary, seasoned without salt. Within months, her blood sugar variability improved and her blood pressure stabilized. The difference wasn't dramatic overnight, it was steady, controlled metabolic balance. Studies published in journals of nutritional science have shown that anthocyanin-rich foods are associated with improved endothelial function, meaning healthier vessel lining, better circulation, and less stress on kidney filters. Red potatoes also provide complex carbohydrates that digest more slowly than processed grains, helping prevent sharp glucose spikes. For Americans facing rising rates of diabetes-related kidney disease, that stability matters more than trendy diet labels. Now let's address the concern honestly. The skin of red potatoes contains higher oxalate levels, which may be relevant for individuals prone to kidney stones. That's why preparation is everything: peeling when needed, boiling, and discarding the water-moderating portions. Strategy replaces fear. But here's the deeper question. If protecting your kidneys isn't just about antioxidants or blood pressure, what if the real battlefield isn't even in the kidneys themselves, but somewhere else entirely? And knowing this alone isn't enough, because there's another factor even more overlooked that could be influencing your kidney health in ways most doctors rarely explain. And this is where the conversation shifts, because taro isn't just another root vegetable. It's a metabolic bridge between your gut and your kidneys. Most people think kidney health begins and ends with sodium or protein, but emerging research over the last decade has revealed something far more powerful: the gut-kidney axis. Your kidneys do not operate in isolation. They respond to inflammation, toxins, and metabolic byproducts that often originate in the digestive system. Taro is naturally rich in dietary fiber, and fiber isn't just about digestion. It feeds beneficial gut bacteria. When those bacteria thrive, they produce short-chain fatty acids that help regulate inflammation and reduce the production of uremic toxins, compounds that, when elevated, place additional stress on the kidneys. Clinical research in nephrology has shown that patients with more diverse gut microbiomes tend to have lower inflammatory markers and slower progression of chronic kidney disease. That's not a wellness trend. That's physiology. I remember a patient named Leonard, early 60s, who struggled with bloating, unstable blood sugar, and slowly rising kidney markers. He was focused entirely on cutting protein, but no one had ever asked about his fiber intake. We gradually introduced cooked taro into his meals, simple steam, no heavy seasoning, replacing ultra-refined starches. Within months, his digestion improved, his glucose variability decreased, and inflammatory markers softened. The kidneys didn't heal overnight, but the burden placed on them clearly shifted. Now, taro does require respect. In its raw form, it contains calcium oxalate crystals that can irritate the throat and theoretically contribute to stone risk if not prepared properly. Cooking thoroughly and discarding excess water minimizes that concern. Again, the difference between harm and help is preparation, not fear. But here's what most people miss. If your gut is inflamed, your kidneys are compensating. And if stabilizing blood pressure was step 1 and protecting blood vessels was step 2, then restoring the gut ecosystem may be the hidden lever almost no one talks about. But knowing this still isn't enough, because there's one final root vegetable that may quietly reduce stone risk and oxidative burden at the same time, and it might be the most overlooked choice in your entire grocery store. And now we come to the one almost nobody talks about: rutabaga. It doesn't trend on social media. It's not in flashy detox programs. But when it comes to kidney support, rutabaga may be one of the most strategic, under-the-radar vegetables in your grocery store. Unlike many common starchy vegetables, rutabaga is naturally lower in oxalates, which is critical for individuals concerned about kidney stone formation. For people who have a history of calcium oxalate stones, the most common type in the United States. That difference matters more than marketing claims ever will. I had a patient, Sandra, early 60s, who had already passed 2 painful kidney stones. She became terrified of vegetables altogether because she'd read conflicting advice online. Instead of eliminating everything, we focused on smarter swaps. Rutabaga replaced higher oxalate starches in small controlled portions. Within a year, she had no new stone episodes, and more importantly, her anxiety around food eased. The solution wasn't restriction, it was precision. Rutabaga belongs to the cruciferous family, which means it contains glucosinolates, plant compounds studied for their role in supporting the body's detoxification pathways, particularly in the liver. And here's something many people miss: your liver and kidneys function as a team. When liver detox pathways operate efficiently, fewer inflammatory byproducts circulate in the bloodstream, reducing downstream stress on the kidneys. Research in nutritional biochemistry continues to explore how cruciferous vegetables influence oxidative stress markers, and the data consistently suggests vascular and metabolic benefits. It's also rich in vitamin C and fiber, contributing to immune resilience and metabolic stability, 2 factors that indirectly protect kidney filtration over time. Of course, like other cruciferous vegetables, rutabaga contains mild goitrogenic compounds, but cooking significantly reduces that concern, making it safe for most people when eaten in balanced amounts. Here's the bigger picture: kidney protection is rarely about one dramatic superfood. It's about cumulative stress, blood pressure, blood sugar, inflammation, toxin load, and strategic daily choices that lower that burden consistently. White potatoes supported pressure balance, red potatoes strengthened vascular defense, Taro repaired the gut connection, and rutabaga quietly reduces stone risk while supporting detox efficiency. But even knowing all 4 of these isn't the final step, because the most important decision isn't just what you eat, it's how consistently you apply these principles. And that final piece may determine whether your kidneys remain resilient or slowly decline without you noticing. If there's one message I want you to walk away with today, it's this: your kidneys are not failing overnight, they respond to patterns, small daily patterns. And that means you have more control than you think. You don't need extreme cleanses. You don't need expensive supplements. You need understanding, consistency, and smarter preparation. Choosing whole foods, managing portions, lowering sodium, stabilizing blood sugar, supporting your gut. These are not dramatic actions, but over time, they are powerful ones. If this video helped you see potatoes and your kidney health in a different light, I encourage you to save it. Keep it somewhere you can return to when you're planning meals or reviewing your lab results. Share it with someone in your family who might need this information. And if you want clear, science-based medical guidance explained in a practical way, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I regularly share the latest research, simple strategies, and evidence-based insights to help you protect your kidneys before problems become irreversible. Most importantly, don't let fear drive your choices. Let knowledge guide them. Your kidneys work for you every single minute of your life. Treat them with patience, balance, and respect, and they can remain resilient far longer than most people expect. This isn't about perfection, it's about progress. And starting today, you're already one step ahead.